never paid any attention to the charts. It wasn't our bag. What we were listening to, we didn't want in the charts. And the other thing was, during the 80s, I personally experienced a lot of racism at mainstream clubs. Just getting inside of them.
It's very easy to forget now that clubs in the West End were difficult to get into. You had to really, really look the part. And if you were black, on the whole, you didn't look the part, no matter how great you were dressed.
To test these disturbing allegations, we followed two groups of white and black clubgoers on a typical Saturday night out. At a club called Uglies, we were told no membership was required. But when the blacks tried to follow the white clubgoers in, they were turned away.
You can come in, but your friend can't, I'm afraid. He's got the wrong shoes on, or he's got the wrong shirt on, or there's some reason there's nothing to do with his colour, but everybody knows it's to do with his colour.
So what sprang up were warehouse parties, where people would take over a derelict building, often sound systems involved because they had the great big speakers.
They had to be unconventional venues. That was part and parcel of the rave.
You found out by sort of hanging out in Soho, getting a flyer, you'd go to this address, you'd be in a derelict area, there'd be one light with maybe a doorman and a few people clustered outside, and you'd be like, that's the one! Run down the road, get in, and you could dance until dawn.
Everybody loves the sunshine.
One of the biggest events we did was in some railway arches underneath St Pancras Station.
Sunshine.
They were absolutely vast.
Everybody loves the sunshine. Sunshine.
Just trying to actually work out the location, I think it would have been somewhere around here. The arches would have stretched from one side of the station right the way through to the other. We had ice cream vans in there, there were vehicles in there, we had like a moving bar.
I believe in miracles, baby. I believe in you.
Imagine a H and the two arches and a tunnel going through the two things. And you had soul-to-soul sound system in one, and then you had family functions in the other. And a queue of people all the way down the street, right the way to the main road. You're looking at the size of the place, you know, we must have had at least 5,000 people partying for like 12, 13 hours here.
The records we were playing just had a certain vibe.
Yeah.
It was soul.
Yeah.
Mixed up with the old school hip hop of the time.
Hola, hola, eh. Hola, hola, eh. Roll it, roll it, roll it.
What I'd do is I'd go out to the US, I'd find obscure records that had kind of been previously undiscovered or had just not done very well in the era that they were put out, which was frequently in the kind of early 80s, late 70s. But in the context of big sound systems and the events we were putting on, suddenly they had a new lease of life.
So it's funky now.
It had to be obscure so that we weren't just doing what those commercial clubs were doing down the road, but it had to have that big, fat bang that worked on the sound system.
This would have been an illegal party, a very illegal party. How did we get in there? I'm not sure I can share that information with you.
Basically, the way we got the keys is something as a solicitor I can't talk about, unfortunately, sorry. There's too much illegality yeah.
During the time of those parties, we would have had Judge Jules on the door because he was studying law.
I'd kind of say this is a party for me and my law student friends, officer.
That's how he got the name, Judge Jules.
We used squatters' legislation to be in buildings, and the police were more than happy for me to demonstrate it as being a more middle-class thing than it actually was.
Nice one, Jules.